What is going on, guys? So today we are doing the Week 4 NFL predictions. But before I get started, I just wanted to ask that if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, then do me a big favor and smash that subscribe button for more daily Dallas Cowboys content on my channel. If you're just an NFL fan, just coming down to check out my predictions, then also click that subscribe button. I really appreciate that. I do these predictions weekly. Week 3 didn't go so great for me, but we'll talk about that later. Let's go and get started with the Indianapolis Colts at the Chicago Bears. Guys, I think this is going to be a pretty good game. We've learned that the Chicago Bears are kind of like the comeback kids this year, right? So this week, I think they're going to have it a little tougher because the Colts, while they didn't get off to too hot a start week 1, they've looked pretty good since then, and I believe they looked great last week. I think they won like 37-6. I forgot who they played. But Colts have an abundance of talent, and they finally got a lot of talent on the defensive end too. So I do pick the Colts to win this one. I wouldn't be shocked if it's a somewhat close game because, like I said, the Bears keep coming back. I'm guessing Mitch Trubisky starting. I haven't even looked at that, so I don't know if... I know Foles got put in last week and kind of led them back into the game. Not sure what they're going to do this week. I think their offense is just struggling to get off to a hot start, like another team I know as a Cowboys fan. But they are doing a great job of fighting back into the games and coming out with wins. So second, we will talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Cincinnati Bengals. And who did I pick for this one? So I chose the Bengals. This was another one where it was kind of a tough game for me to pick. The Jaguars, their defense, I don't think they're as bad as people think they are. And they have a couple weapons now around, God, I can't even think of his name, Gardner Minshew. And I think it's Lavinka Shenault. I'm terrible with names. But they have a couple decent receivers there. Keelan Cole. And I could see them moving the ball pretty well against the Bengals, although I just think the Bengals have a little more talent on the offensive end in general. So that's why I'm picking them to win. I got some buddies that are Jaguars fans. They're probably not going to like to see this, but that's just who I got. So the third game, Cleveland Browns at the Dallas Cowboys. So I've already done the weekly prediction video for the Dallas Cowboys game. I picked the Cowboys to win. I wouldn't be shocked if it goes the other way. I think this is going to be a close game, but I do think the Cowboys are going to come out with a win. The New Orleans Saints at the Detroit Lions. I think the Lions won last week against a somewhat impressive Cardinals team. I don't think they're going to beat the Saints even at home. I think the Saints are just the better team. They looked pretty decent last week against the Green Bay Packers, who are also rolling right now. Although they didn't win, I do think they'll beat the Lions. New Orleans. I just said New Orleans. Seattle Seahawks at Miami Dolphins. Guys, I think this is pretty easy pick right here. Definitely Seattle Seahawks to win this one. And Miami. I think they're getting Chris Carson back, and I expect them to do really well against the Dolphins. Even though the Dolphins have a pretty decent secondary this year after signing Byron Jones in the offseason, I do think Russell Wilson will impose his will, and they'll probably be able to run the ball pretty well. Okay, so we got the Los Angeles Chargers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers are another team that kind of got off to a slow start, but the last couple weeks it seems like they've been rolling with Tom Brady. Finally found out what kind of weapon Mike Evans can be if you just throw his way. He doesn't have to be open. He's 6'5". He'll go up and get it. I'm a big Texas A&M fan, so I saw him play plenty in college, and just a heck of a player. I pick the Buccaneers to definitely win this one. I'm trying to think. I think the Chargers lost to the Panthers last week, and I actually had that written down somewhere. Yeah, so they did. So I would assume they're probably going to lose at Tampa as well. Next, we have the Baltimore Ravens at the Washington football team. So the Washington football team came into the season, they made some decent moves in my opinion. They're a little better than I think people thought they would be, but they're not great. They're not winning games either. So when I say they're better than what people thought, then maybe they're really not because they're just not getting it done. I think they've been competitive. I don't think they're going to beat the Baltimore Ravens. I picked the Ravens to win last week, and they did not. This week, I'm picking them again. Arizona Cardinals at Carolina Panthers. I kind of flip-flopped on this one, back and forth a couple times. I think that the Arizona Cardinals are going to win this, but the Panthers were impressive last week, and I've been telling fans all season long, don't sleep on the Carolina Panthers, not necessarily as a playoff team, just as maybe like an 8-win team that gets kind of gets the most out of their talent, right? But I do think the Cardinals, after that disappointing loss, even though it was a close game against the Lions last week, I think they're going to come out firing, and they're probably going to win that game. Next, we have the Minnesota Vikings at the Houston Texans, and that was another tough one for me. A lot of these games this week are. I'm picking the Vikings to win. I think they were super impressive last week. I am worried about their secondary, but I'm just not worried about the Houston Texans wide receivers like at all. Deshaun Watson just doesn't have his weapons. I know David Johnson's kind of doing his thing. I believe Duke Johnson's supposed to be back and be healthy this week, but I don't think that's going to make the difference. Don't get me wrong, Deshaun Watson is an elite quarterback in my opinion, but you got to surround some guys around him and potentially better coaching as well than Bill O'Brien. Now we'll move on to the New York Giants at the Los Angeles Rams. Guys, this is an easy one for me. I'm definitely picking the Los Angeles Rams. Jason Garrett hasn't been too impressive to start the season as the offensive coordinator there, but at the same time, he hasn't had a lot to work with. I mean, especially now that Saquon Barkley is out, I just don't think that offense has much room to be explosive. They don't have the personnel for it. So I'm picking the Rams to take that at home, and I think they're a tough matchup for anybody this year. Next, we have the New England Patriots at the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to take this one, just a much more explosive offense. They're at home. They proved last week that they can hang with the good teams, and I think the Baltimore Ravens are probably a little better than the Patriots, so I'm definitely taking the Chiefs to take this one. Probably a similar score, like 35 to 21 range. Let's see, we got the Buffalo Bills at the Las Vegas Raiders. I think I picked the Raiders to beat the Patriots last week. Wasn't too smart of a decision. Definitely taking the Bills this week. I'm done sleeping on the Bills. I picked them to win a couple games this year, but I think there was a game or two. It might have been last week against the Rams where I picked the Rams to win. And guys, the Bills showed me wrong. Even battling back into games where they give up a big lead, they do it. They do it all. And Josh Allen is underrated on my behalf. I called him a bust. Well, not on this channel, I didn't, but I'm good buddies with Dan Mitchell, the Bills YouTuber, and I was telling him his rookie season, I was like, Dan, Josh Allen sucks. I'm like, yeah, he has a strong arm, but he misses guys by a mile. He didn't play tough teams in college, and he still wasn't accurate, regardless of who his wide receivers were. Guys, I can admit I was 100% wrong about Josh Allen. He's really good. And yeah, every once in a while he'll miss a guy by 10 yards, but now he's putting up 300-400 yards a game. So what else can you say about the guy? I think he's leading the NFL in passing yards. So anyways, next we got the Philadelphia Eagles at the San Francisco 49ers. And this might be a tough game for the 49ers just because they're missing so many guys. However, they were last week too. Wasn't as tough of a matchup for them. But at the same time, they just know how to win. And they're a team that I consider a true legitimate contender to go back to the Super Bowl again this year. Just because they're showing right now, even with guys out at the most important positions, they're still going to come through and show up and play good defense and make things happen on the other end as well. So I'm picking the 49ers to beat the Eagles. And man, I'd love to see the Eagles keep struggling. Next, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Tennessee Titans. So I put that on the schedule. That game is postponed. I'll talk a little bit about it, but I'm not going to mention too much. I think the Titans have gotten off to a decent start. They played some close games, but they have gotten some wins, and that's kind of the difference between them early on in the season this year to early on in the season last year under Marcus Mariota, where they just weren't winning games until Ryan Tannehill took over. So, guys, I would not be surprised if they end up winning the division yet again and doing some things in the playoffs. Actually, I don't even know if they won the division last year, but either way, they made it happen against the Baltimore Ravens in the playoffs, and they played the Chiefs tight for at least 3 quarters, I believe. But I'm not going to give a prediction on that game just yet because I'm not sure when it'll be played. Next, we have the Atlanta Falcons at the Green Bay Packers. I believe that's the last game of the week. That's Monday Night Football. I'm picking the Green Bay Packers. I keep picking the Atlanta Falcons to win, and they're just not getting it done. And it turns out I thought they were a pretty good team. Maybe I'm wrong. The Green Bay Packers, on the other hand, they made that smart decision to draft quarterback Jordan Love, and now Aaron Rodgers is on a mission. They did a phenomenal job of pissing him off, and now he's playing at his best, and they're looking like a contender in the NFC. So now we get to go back to week 3, look at what I got right, look at what I got wrong. Last week I got the gloat because I went 13-2. This week I didn't do so hot. I went 7-8, and we're going to go over some of the games. So Miami Dolphins at Jacksonville Jaguars. I picked the Jaguars. I was wrong. They were beat pretty handily by the Dolphins. So 0-1 start. Then I went 0-2 when I picked the Atlanta Falcons to beat the Bears. So I mentioned how I keep picking the Falcons. Not making that mistake again. The Bears continue to impress late in games. 0-3, I picked the Rams to beat the Buffalo Bills. Like I said, guys, not sleeping on the Bills anymore. They beat a tough Rams team and a tough game. 1-3, I picked the Browns to beat the Washington football team. They can beat any team they want in the NFC East as long as it's not my Dallas Cowboys, okay? I'm cool with that. 2-3, I picked the Titans to beat... Why do I say Titans so weird sometimes? I picked them to beat the Minnesota Vikings, and I was right about that one. Wait a second now. So I thought that the Vikings won that game. So now I'm a little confused. I'm going to have to go back and look at the scores. I guess I'm wrong. Maybe the Vikings didn't win that game. I think it was close at least. I think I said earlier that the Vikings won by a lot, so I'm wrong on that. So correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Next, I picked the Patriots. No, I picked the Raiders to beat the Patriots. I was super wrong about that. That might have been my worst pick of the week because the Patriots won that pretty handily with better coaching, better defense. Next, I picked the 49ers to win against the Giants. And they beat the Giants very easily. It was like 30-something to 6. So that's who they played last week. And that game put me at 3-4. Cincinnati Bengals at Philadelphia Eagles. That game was obviously a tie, a draw. So I didn't count that for or against my record. I just kept going as if that game never happened. I'm at 4-4 because I picked the Steelers to beat the Texans. So I'm going to keep picking against the Texans unless they're playing like a legitimately bad team like the Jets or the Lions or something. Let's see. Next, I picked the Colts against the Jets. Guys, always pick against the Jets. Colts won that game easily. That put me at 5-4, and I was sitting okay at that point. Then I was wrong about the Chargers, Panthers. Panthers won that game, and I think I said, don't sleep on the Panthers. It's going to be tough, but I picked the Chargers, so I was wrong about that one. I'm at 5-5 there. Make it 5-6 because I picked the Cowboys to win. Of course, I picked the Cowboys to win, right? They were supposed to, but they didn't. So that puts me at 5-6. I picked the Cardinals to beat the Lions. I think most people probably picked the Cardinals to beat the Lions, including Lions fans. I have a good buddy who's a Detroit Lions fan, and he didn't think they had a chance. And I was like, hey man, you're due for a win. You never know. But they did get that win, and I was wrong. So 5-7. Brought it back to 6-7. I picked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Denver Broncos. So I'm picking the Buccaneers to beat marginally good teams because I think the Buccaneers are really tough. I mean, Tom Brady is that dude, and he's got some weapons. I brought up Mike Evans, but he's not the only one. You got Godwin. You got, are we even going to consider Gronk a weapon right now? Probably not, but O.J. Howard, Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette. I'm missing guys, but Scotty Miller for one, and hopefully I'm not missing like a really good receiver. But then I picked the Packers to beat the Saints. I think that was probably my smartest pick of the week because it was a pretty close, well-contested game, and Aaron Rodgers is just on top of his game right now. That's why I picked him to win that game. I believe it was in New Orleans, and it was. So I like that pick on my end. I think that came across as a pretty intelligent pick, but then I ended it picking the Ravens over the Chiefs, which was an awful pick, and that put me at 7-8. That was an equally unintelligent pick. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. As you notice, I cleaned up the background some back here. I know somebody left a comment in one of my last videos saying that they didn't love like the setup of the background. It's my room. I don't really have like an office or anything right now, and I'm not gonna get like something like that right now due to COVID anyways. So it just kind of is what it is for a little while. But I am thinking about investing in a green screen. I found one for like close to a couple $100, but so it isn't cheap, and I've already invested in some other stuff like the webcam, the mic, the lighting. But guys, I'm doing my best to continue to improve this channel, continue to improve my content personally as well. And I do think I'm going to get a green screen. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it 100% of the time, but I'm definitely going to use it sometimes and get y'all's opinions on it. But I think that's going to do it for today, guys. Outside of that, I'm out. Peace!